A single African mother was chased out of a white church into the rain with her baby, until a white-kind billionaire took off his jacket and said, "Come with me." So it began. A city stirs awake under a storm's relentless grip, its pulse thrumming through rain-soaked streets, where two broken souls are destined to collide in a moment that will change everything. The rain pounds Chicago's pavement, a fierce, unyielding rhythm that drowns out the world's noise. Puddles ripple on cracked sidewalks, reflecting the dying flicker of neon signs, faint, like stars suffocating in the dawn's gray haze. The air is thick with the scent of wet asphalt, bitter coffee from a nearby diner, and a quiet, aching despair that clings like damp cloth. Amina Okoye stumbles through the deluge, her steps faltering, her vibrant headscarf, once a proud burst of color from her Nigerian homeland, now plastered to her shoulders like a second skin. She clutches her baby, Zara, wrapped in a faded kanga, its patterns worn thin by time and hardship. Zara's cries pierce the morning, sharp and desperate, cutting through the storm's roar. Amina's face is a map of survival, bruised cheek, swollen lip, eyes hollowed by fear and nights spent wide awake, haunted by rejection. Hours ago, she was chased from a church, its white congregation's faces cold, their voices venomous. "You don't belong here. Take your child and go." The words echo in her mind, each syllable a fresh wound. Her legs buckle, and she slumps against a graffiti-scarred brick wall, its icy bite seeping through her thin clothes. "Please, my heart," she whispers, her voice trembling, raw with exhaustion, "hold on. I'll find us a place. I swear it." Zara's wails soften to fragile whimpers, her tiny body shivering in the damp kanga. Amina's sob catches in her throat, her tears mixing with the rain as commuters hurry past, their umbrellas a fortress against her pain. She's invisible, a ghost in a city that doesn't see her. Or so she believes. High above, on the rooftop of a modest office building, Elias Kane stands alone, rain soaking his tailored suit, the fabric clinging to his broad frame. He doesn't notice the cold. At 32, Elias is a man straddling two worlds, poised on the edge of millions, his tech startup a beacon in Chicago's bustling scene, yet anchored to a past that claws at his heart. His shoulders sag under the weight of ghosts, his dark eyes fixed on the horizon. In his hand, a crumpled photograph trembles in the wind, a boy, maybe 10, beams beside a woman whose tired smile radiates warmth, his mother, Lena. Her final words, "You're enough," slice through him, sharper than the storm's biting wind. Elias fought his way out of Chicago's South Side, where hunger was a constant companion and alleys were his bed. His startup, Kane Innovations, is now a rising star, contracts pouring in like the rain below, but success feels hollow. Tonight, he's on this roof because the alley beneath it holds his past, a place he swore he'd never return to. Yet something inexplicable drew him here, a restless ache he can't name, pulling him to the edge of memory. His gaze drifts to the street below, and Amina's hunched figure catches his eye. Her silhouette, cradling Zara, is a punch to his gut, her desperation mirrors the boy he once was, shivering in those same alleys. Zara's faint cries carry on the wind, a sound that cracks open something deep within him. His breath hitches. Without a second thought, he shrugs off his jacket, the first he bought with a real paycheck, a symbol of his climb from nothing. It falls to the rooftop, a shed skin, as his polished shoes echo down the stairwell, each step steady, driven by purpose. Amina doesn't see him approach. Her head is bowed, shielding Zara from the rain's relentless assault. Elias kneels a few feet away, careful not to startle her, his presence gentle but unshakable. He places the jacket on the wet pavement between them, its dark wool a stark contrast to the gray world around them. His voice cuts through the storm, low and steady, like a lighthouse in the dark, "Come with me." Amina's head snaps up, her eyes wide, fear flickering like a candle about to die. Her breath catches, her bruised face taut with mistrust. She's known too many false promises, too many hands that struck instead of helped. But in Elias's eyes, there's something else, kindness, raw and unguarded, and a shadow of pain she recognizes. Hope stirs in her chest, fragile as a seedling breaking through cracked earth. She doesn't move, not yet. Elias doesn't press. He waits, rain dripping from his hair, his presence a quiet vow in the chaos of the storm. In that fleeting moment, two strangers lock eyes, their pain laid bare in a single glance. A spark of humanity ignites, bright enough to pierce the darkest storm. One act of kindness can rewrite a life story. What moment of compassion changed yours? Amina clutches Zara tighter, her breath shallow, trapped in the cage of her ribs. The city's pulse hums around her, horns blaring, footsteps splashing, but her world narrows to the man before her. Elias stands a few feet away, his hands open, palms up, no trace of demand in his posture. His eyes, tired and shadowed, carry a weight she knows too well, the ache of loss, the grit to keep fighting. "I have a place nearby," he says, his voice a steady anchor, grounding her in the chaos. "It's warm. There's food, a place to rest. You don't have to stay long." Amina's gaze drops to Zara, her baby's cries now faint, her tiny body trembling against the soaked kanga. Fear gnaws at her, every promise in her life has crumbled into betrayal, from her husband's fists to the church's rejection. But Zara's shivers are a silent plea, and Amina's heart twists, torn between distrust and desperation. She nods, a small, hesitant motion, like a bird testing its wings. Elias picks up his jacket, draping it over her shoulders with care, his fingers never grazing her skin. The wool's warmth shocks her, a fleeting embrace in a world that's turned its back. She rises, legs unsteady, clutching Zara as if she's the only thing keeping her tethered to the earth. The rain eases to a misty drizzle, curling through Chicago's streets like a ghostly veil. Amina trails a step behind Elias, her arms wrapped protectively around Zara, the jacket heavy but grounding. They reach a modest two-story building, its brick facade weathered but proud, standing defiant against the city's towering skyline. A faded sign reads Kane Innovations. Inside, the air shifts, warm, alive with the scent of fresh coffee and the electric hum of ambition. Exposed brick walls are alive with whiteboards scrawled in vibrant code, computers glowing softly, their screens casting a kaleidoscope of light. A small team of engineers works with focused energy, their chatter a lively undercurrent. Amina hesitates at the threshold, her sandals leaving wet prints on the polished floor. Zara stirs, her whimpers barely audible now, her tiny body still trembling. Elias gestures to a small break room, where a heater glows like a hearth, casting golden light across a worn but inviting couch. "Rest here," he says, his voice a quiet anchor in the unfamiliar space. He disappears, returning with a thick, soft blanket, a thermos of steaming tea fragrant with hibiscus, and a small bottle of warm milk for Zara. His movements are deliberate, unhurried, as if he senses that one wrong move could shatter the fragile trust she's beginning to offer. A woman in her 50s, Ruth, peers in from the hallway. Her gray hair is pulled into a tight bun, her eyes sharp but warm, like a grandmother who's seen the world's cruelty but chooses kindness anyway. She offers a nod to Elias, her silence a steady reassurance. A young engineer, Jamal, pokes his head in, his glasses glinting under the fluorescent light. He flashes a shy, boyish smile before ducking back to his desk, the clatter of his keyboard resuming like a heartbeat. The office pulses with life, a stark contrast to the cold church Amina fled. The pastor's voice echoes in her mind, sharp as a blade, "You don't belong here. Take your child and go." The congregation stares, cold, white, unyielding, burn in her memory, their whispers like venom, "Go back to where you came from." Her bruises throb under the jacket, a reminder of the fists that drove her from Nigeria, the family that called her cursed, the church that slammed its doors. She fled into the night, her heart shattered, Zara her only light in the darkness. She sips the tea, its warmth spreading through her chest like a sunrise, thawing the chill in her bones. Zara latches onto the milk, her whimpers fading to soft, contented gurgles. For the first time in hours, Amina exhales, her shoulders easing, the weight of the world loosening its grip. The office's hum wraps around her, not threatening, but alive, a heartbeat she can almost trust. She's not ready to let her guard down, not yet, but this moment, this space, feels like a breath after drowning. A spark of hope flickers in her chest, fragile but fierce, like a flame refusing to die. Oh, that warm glow. In the quiet of a stranger's kindness, a single moment can feel like salvation. Would you have taken that leap into the unknown, or held back, too scarred to trust again? Amina's gaze lingers on Elias as he steps away, giving her space to breathe. The office hums on, oblivious to the seismic shift in her world. A question stirs in her heart: what comes next in this place that feels like a fragile, beautiful beginning? Days slip by, each one weaving a delicate thread of safety. Amina cradles Zara in the break room, the office's rhythm becoming her own. A deeper connection forms, rooted in shared scars and quiet, unshakable strength. Morning light spills through smudged windows, painting soft patterns across the break room's worn couch. The office hums with purpose, a symphony of clicking keyboards and murmured ideas. Amina folds a blanket with careful hands, her movements slow, deliberate, as if she's rediscovering her own resilience. Zara, nestled in a cozy crib of pillows, giggles, a bright, bubbling sound that dances through the air, as Jamal, the young engineer, builds a wobbly tower of paper cups for her amusement. His shy grin mirrors her delight, his laughter a soft echo of her joy. Each afternoon, Elias appears like clockwork, setting down a tray of sandwiches, ham, turkey, sometimes a vibrant vegetable wrap, all fresh and thoughtfully chosen. He lingers just long enough to check on them before slipping back to his work, his presence a quiet constant. A thermos of coffee left steaming on the table, Ruth's warm smile as she passes with a quick, "You're doing fine, love," the clatter of keyboards blending with Zara's happy coos. This space, once alien, now feels like a pulse Amina can lean into, a rhythm she's beginning to trust. Her mind drifts, unmoored by this unfamiliar safety. Flashbacks flicker like a broken film reel, a cramped apartment in Lagos, the air thick with tension, her husband's slurred voice turning sharp, his fist crashing against her cheek as she shielded her swollen belly. The night she fled Nigeria, her husband's death in a market brawl branded her a curse by her own family. "You brought shame," her father's voice had hissed through the phone, "don't come back." She crossed oceans, seeking refuge, only to face new rejection in Chicago's church, its white congregation's whispers cutting deeper than any blade, "Go back to where you came from." The pastor's cold dismissal, "Take your child and go," still burns, a wound that throbs alongside her bruises. Now, in this office, her hands pause on the blanket, the weight of those memories pressing against the warmth surrounding her. She glances at Zara, her daughter's tiny fingers clutching the kanga, and a quiet resolve stirs, a promise to fight for a future where Zara knows only love. Elias watches from the hallway, his silhouette framed by the morning light. His own past surges, unbidden. A South Side tenement, walls thin as dreams, where a young Elias read to his mother, Lena, by the flicker of a stolen candle. Her cough rattled, cancer stealing her breath, but her eyes sparkled as he wove stories of empires from a tattered library book. "You're enough," she'd whispered, her hand weak but firm on his. He hadn't believed her, not when hunger gnawed his stomach, not when he curled up in alleys after she was gone, her smile a fading echo. Seeing Amina's quiet strength, her fierce love for Zara, it's like seeing Lena again, a woman who fought for him against all odds. His chest tightens, but the pain feels softer now, less a wound and more a memory finding peace. He steps closer, offering a small toy for Zara. A colorful rattle that makes her eyes light up. Amina's faint smile, cautious but real, is a bridge between their worlds. One evening, the office grows quiet, the hum of work fading into a gentle stillness. Amina rocks Zara, now asleep, her tiny chest rising and falling in rhythm with her mother's heartbeat. Elias steps into the break room, sitting across from her, the silence warm and unhurried. The heater glows softly, the air carrying the soothing scent of chamomile from Amina's tea. He doesn't speak at first, letting the moment breathe, the weight of their shared silence enough. Then, quietly, he says, I lost someone too. My mother. She believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. His voice is steady, but a crack runs through it, a truth laid bare. Amina meets his gaze, her guard slipping like a heavy cloak falling away. I don't know how to believe in myself anymore, she whispers, her voice raw, barely audible over Zara's soft breaths. Everything I touch turns to ash. Elias nods, his eyes holding hers, unwavering. You're already proving that's not true. Look at her, he says, glancing at Zara. You're her world. That's not ash, that's fire. The words land gently, a bridge spanning their wounds. They sit in silence, the moment a sanctuary, their shared pain speaking louder than words. In the quiet spaces between words, two hearts find common ground. A single act of understanding can light a path through the darkest pain. What's one kindness that changed your life, or someone else's? Amina's fingers brush Zara's cheek, her eyes lingering on Elias as he rises to leave, his footsteps soft against the hum of the office settling into night. A spark of possibility glows brighter, a fragile flame growing stronger. But what will this newfound bond mean for their futures? The city's hum carries their story forward, but shadows loom. Amina and Elias's bond, delicate but deepening, faces a test as whispers from the outside world creep in, threatening to unravel their sanctuary. The office's warmth feels fragile now, like a candle flickering in a sudden gust. A local journalist, hungry for a story, has spotted Amina, her presence in Elias's world no longer a secret. Rumors spread like wildfire through Chicago's underbelly, each word a spark on dry grass. She's a fraud, using that baby to scam him, a barista hisses at a nearby cafe. Her husband's death wasn't an accident, bet she had a hand in it, a neighbor mutters, eyes narrowed. Online, a blog post flares to life, its headline cutting, Tech Millionaire Harbors African Immigrant, what's the real story? The camera captures the sting of it all, a delivery driver's sneer as Amina signs for a package, his gaze raking over her like she's a tabloid headline. She freezes, the pen trembling in her hand, the weight of judgment crashing over her like a wave. In her mind, she's back in the church, the congregation's cold, white faces staring, their whispers sharp as knives, you don't belong here. Her chest tightens, the air thick with shame, the same shame that followed her from Lagos to this unforgiving city. Ruth's voice cuts through the tension, sharp and fierce, on a phone call in the hallway. She's not what they're saying, she's a mother, a survivor, and she's got more strength than any of them. The words are meant to shield, but they land like salt on an open wound. Amina retreats to the break room, Zara asleep in her arms, the familiar couch no longer a haven. Her hands shake as she adjusts the kanga, her breaths shallow, ragged. The office hums on, keyboards clacking, Jamal's soft laugh as he tinkers with a gadget, but it feels distant, like a world she's intruding on. She whispers to Zara, I don't want to ruin this for you, my heart. I can't be the curse they say I am. The words choke her, heavy with the fear that she's a poison, not a protector. Elias senses the shift, the air in the office growing brittle, charged with unspoken tension. He calls a team meeting, his presence commanding yet calm, like a captain steadying a ship in a storm. Across the small group, Ruth's unwavering gaze, Jamal's quiet nod, the engineer's attentive silence, their loyalty palpable. Amina and Zara are here because they needed help, Elias says, his voice firm but measured, each word a stone laid in a foundation. That's all you need to know. If anyone has a problem with that, they can walk out the door. The team nods, their silence a vow, their unity a shield. Later, he finds Amina in the break room, her eyes red, Zara's small form curled against her. He kneels, keeping his distance, his voice soft but unyielding. I don't care what they say out there. You're not invisible to me. You're not what they claim. The words echo his mother's, you're enough, and they sink into Amina, a warmth battling the cold doubt in her chest. Elias's stand isn't loud, it's a fortress, built quietly, defying the world's cruelty with unshakable resolve. That night, they sit on the office roof, the city sprawling below, its lights pulsing like a living heartbeat. A gentle drizzle falls, cool against their skin, the air sharp with the scent of wet concrete and distant dreams. Amina speaks, her voice low, halting, each word a step into vulnerability. She tells of dreams she buried, teaching children, shaping young minds with stories and knowledge, stolen by a husband who caged her with control, his fists leaving scars deeper than skin. I'm afraid I'll never be enough for her, she confesses, glancing at Zara, asleep in a portable crib nearby, her tiny breaths a soft rhythm. Elias listens, his eyes steady, reflecting the city's glow. I know that fear, he says, his voice a quiet confession, raw and unguarded. I built all this, millions in contracts, a name people respect, but I still feel like that kid in the alleys, alone, waiting for the world to prove I'm nothing. His fingers brush the photograph in his pocket, Lena's smile a ghost that lingers. But you're not nothing. You're fighting for her, and that's everything. Their vulnerabilities weave together, not love, but something deeper, a shared resolve forged in the fires of pain. They sit in the rain, unafraid, their trust a quiet fortress against the storm's howl. When the world screams judgment, a single voice of belief can change everything. Do you believe people deserve second chances, even when the world says they don't? Amina's gaze lingers on the city, a spark of determination flickering in her eyes, brighter now, unyielding. Elias stands beside her, their bond a quiet strength, a lighthouse in the dark. But the whispers haven't stopped, and the world outside grows louder. What will it cost to protect this fragile haven? The story doesn't end here. Amina begins to find her footing, her strength rekindling like a fire stoked to life. Elias offers her a job at Kane Innovations. Not out of pity, but respect, recognizing the spark in her eyes, the mind sharpened by survival. She starts small, organizing files, her hands steady as she learns the rhythm of the office. The team becomes her village. Ruth shares stories of her own struggles, Jamal teaches Zara to clap at his silly antics, and the engineers slip her tips on coding, sparking a curiosity she thought she'd lost. But the outside world doesn't relent. The journalist's article grows, fueling online hate, accusing Amina of manipulating Elias, questioning her past. A protest forms outside the office, small but loud, signs demanding she leave. Amina's heart races, old fears clawing back, but Elias stands firm, his team a wall around her. One evening, Amina finds an old notebook in the break room, its pages blank, waiting. She begins to write, stories for Zara, dreams of teaching, plans for a future she's starting to believe in. Elias notices, leaving her a pen with a quiet nod, a gesture that says, keep going. Their bond deepens, not as savior and saved, but as equals, two souls rebuilding. From their own ruins. This story began in the shadows, where despair soaked the streets and two souls found each other. Not through grand heroics, but through a quiet choice, to stay, to care, to believe. Elias and Amina show us that second chances aren't given, they're built, one small, brave act at a time. We all carry invisible battles, but we don't have to fight them alone. Sometimes, a hand reaching out, a voice saying, come with me, changes everything. What's the one moment of kindness that gave you strength, or that you gave to someone else? This video took countless hours to craft, pouring heart and soul into a story meant to inspire, to remind you of the power of compassion. So please, subscribe to Heartwarming real-life moments if you believe in redemption, resilience, and stories that heal. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a tale of hope like this one. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's a moment that changed your life? Let's build a community of stories that lift us all up.